Imagine walking into a room filled with sparkling lights and beautiful people. Everyone is smiling. Everyone looks so happy. It looks like a perfect fairy tale. But sometimes the most beautiful fairy tales hide the saddest secrets. This is a story about love and pressure. It is a story about Princess Beatrice and her husband, Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi. To the whole world, they seem to have everything: a gorgeous wedding, a beautiful baby girl, a life of glamour and royal events. People looked at them and thought, they are so lucky, they have the perfect marriage. But behind the closed doors of the palace, whispers began to grow. Quiet at first, like a secret that no one wanted to say out loud. Then the whispers got louder. People started to wonder if everything was really as perfect as it looked. Could their love story, the one everyone once admired, be facing its biggest test ever? Let's step behind the palace gates and find out what was really going on. Imagine the perfect vacation, a trip to the French Riviera where the sun shines bright and the water is a beautiful blue. It is a place where the richest people in the world go to relax. It was supposed to be a fresh start for Beatrice and Edoardo, a chance to get away from the cameras and the pressure. But sometimes, even the most beautiful places cannot fix what is broken inside. The first sign that something was wrong came at a famous beach club. This was the kind of place where expensive champagne flows like water and laughter fills the air. Celebrities and billionaires sat in the sun, enjoying every perfect moment. Edoardo was there, smiling and chatting with people. He looked like he was having a wonderful time. But one person was missing. Beatrice was not there. People started to whisper, where was the princess? Why was she not with her husband? Reports said she was feeling too unwell and too tired to join the fun. While Edoardo enjoyed the party, Beatrice was reportedly struggling behind closed doors. The difference was hard to ignore. One half of the couple seemed carefree. The other half seemed weighed down by something heavy. As the afternoon went on, the whispers grew louder. Some people wondered if Edoardo should have been more worried about his wife. Should he have stayed with her instead of smiling at strangers? Others thought maybe he was just trying to be brave. But no matter what people thought, one thing was clear: this romantic getaway was not going as planned. But the beach club was only the beginning. As the sun went down, something else happened. Something away from the cameras, something that would change everything. What happened behind closed doors that night, and why did it push Edoardo to do something that no royal spouse is ever supposed to do? Stay with us to find out. Now let's talk about something else that was causing stress: money and reputation. Edoardo is a businessman. He runs a company that sells beautiful homes to very rich people. Before he married Beatrice, his business was doing great. His royal connection opened doors that money could not unlock. Clients wanted to work with him because he was part of the royal family. But then things started to change. Beatrice's father, Prince Andrew, became the center of a huge scandal. The headlines were everywhere, and they were not good. Suddenly, that royal connection that had once helped Edoardo's business started to hurt it. Clients got nervous. Investors started asking hard questions. Some people quietly walked away, not wanting to be linked to a family that was always in the news for the wrong reasons. Edoardo felt the pressure. Every business meeting was harder. Every news report made him worry about his company's future. Insiders say he reached a painful conclusion. If his business was going to survive, something had to change. That led to hard conversations at home. Edoardo reportedly encouraged Beatrice to create more distance between herself and her father's problems. He wanted her to step back to protect their own family. But for Beatrice, it was not that simple. He was her father. Family loyalty is not something you can just turn off. This disagreement put a huge strain on their marriage. Then came a move that shocked everyone. Instead of staying by his wife's side during one of the hardest times of her life, Edoardo reportedly traveled to the United States for several weeks. He said it was for business. He said he needed to protect his company. But to many people, it looked like he was running away. It looked like he was leaving Beatrice to face the storm alone. The criticism grew louder. The whispers about cracks in their relationship became impossible to ignore. The businessman who was trying to save his career was now being accused of abandoning his wife when she needed him most. And then Edoardo did something that surprised everyone. He broke the royal silence. In the royal family, there is an unspoken rule. You do not talk about your personal problems in public. You stay quiet. You let the rumors fade. But Edoardo decided to defend himself. He gave a public statement, insisting that there was nothing unusual about his constant travels. He said it was just part of running a successful business. But instead of making the rumors go away, his words made them worse. Critics asked, "If there is nothing to hide, why did you say anything?" Others said his explanation did not answer the big questions. Instead of calming things down, he had made things hotter. Soon, people started looking at his past. Old stories that had been forgotten suddenly came back. How had his relationship with Beatrice really started? Had it all happened too fast? Then another detail came out. During that long business trip to America, Edoardo had spent weeks traveling with a female colleague. There was no proof of anything bad, but the pictures and the headlines were enough to start a firestorm of gossip. The timing could not have been worse. While Beatrice stayed in Britain, balancing royal duties and caring for their baby, Edoardo seemed to be living a completely different life. A life of travel, luxury, and business meetings. The difference between their two worlds was striking. Could two people living such different lives really stay together? But if the spotlight on Edoardo was intense, imagine what Beatrice was going through. The pressure was pushing her to her breaking point. Day after day, fresh rumors and constant headlines wore her down. The smiling princess people saw in public was hiding a woman who was carrying a weight that was becoming too heavy. Behind closed doors, those closest to her watched the confident royal slowly lose her strength. Instead of leaning on her husband, Beatrice increasingly sought comfort from her trusted friends and relatives. They became her safe place. Private conversations often became deeply emotional as she struggled to hold back tears. There were even claims that sometimes the pain overwhelmed her so completely that she broke down in front of others. For someone raised in the royal spotlight, losing control like that is incredibly hard. Every expression, every tear could become tomorrow's headline. Friends tried to help. They invited her to quiet weekends away from the cameras, hoping a peaceful setting would help her recover. But the emotional wounds were deeper than anyone expected. During small gatherings with people she trusted, the carefully controlled image disappeared. People saw someone who was exhausted, someone who was worried about her marriage, someone who did not know what the future held. At the same time, sympathy for Edoardo was fading. Some people in the family had never fully accepted him. Now those voices were getting louder. Whether fair or not, the criticism was piling up. And here is another thing. Look at Beatrice's sister, Princess Eugenie. She has kept her own family life much more stable and private. She avoids the headlines. She stays out of the drama. The difference between the two sisters is striking. Why has Eugenie been able to avoid the intense speculation that follows Beatrice everywhere? But the emotional struggle may only be the beginning. An even bigger crisis could be waiting just around the corner: money and the future. For a long time, Beatrice and Edoardo have enjoyed the benefits of being connected to the royal family. They have had help with living arrangements and other support, but that may not last forever. When Prince William eventually becomes king, he is expected to create a slimmer, more modern monarchy. That could mean fewer privileges for extended family members like Beatrice. Benefits they have relied on could disappear. They would have to stand on their own. That is a scary thought. London is one of the most expensive cities in the world. Maintaining a glamorous lifestyle without royal support would be a serious challenge. And if Edoardo's business continues to struggle, the pressure could become unbearable. The carefully crafted image of a fairy tale romance has started to lose its shine. What once looked effortless now seems weighed down by constant scrutiny and difficult choices. As the rumors spread, some critics have started to wonder, if the royal advantages disappear, will Edoardo's commitment stay strong, or will he walk away? Others say that is unfair. They argue that every marriage goes through hard times, but the questions will not go away. And that brings us to the past, because whenever rumors swirl around Beatrice and Edoardo, one story always comes back. It is the story of Edoardo's ex-girlfriend, Dara Huang. Long before Edoardo became part of the royal family, he was in a relationship with Dara, an architect. They had a son together, a little boy named Wolfie. Even though their romance ended, they stayed committed to raising Wolfie together. When Edoardo and Beatrice got together, people had questions. Had the transition from one relationship to another happened too fast? How would this modern family work inside the ancient institution of the monarchy? Despite the gossip, Beatrice has embraced Wolfie. She treats him like her own. She has helped create a close and supportive blended family. Wolfie has even been seen at important royal events, and Dara has praised the co-parenting arrangement, saying it is based on respect and putting Wolfie's happiness first. But the public does not always care about reality. Every time a new headline appears, social media revives old stories about Dara. For some critics, the past becomes a way to judge the present. Others argue that it is unfair to keep bringing up a relationship that ended years ago, especially when everyone involved is trying to move forward. This shows how hard it is for royals to escape their history. Every public appearance, every trip, every rumor can trigger a debate about events that many thought were settled. Now let's take a closer look at the two sisters. Beatrice and Eugenie grew up together. They shared the same home and the same experiences. But as adults, they have chosen very different paths. Beatrice is often in the spotlight. Every move she makes is watched and talked about. Eugenie, on the other hand, has chosen a quieter life. She focuses on her family and stays away from the drama. This difference has made people talk even more. Why is one sister always in the news while the other is not? Could it be that Beatrice's marriage to Edoardo has brought her more attention, and not all of it is good? The pressure of being a royal is something most of us cannot understand. Imagine every argument you have with your partner being on the front page of a newspaper. Imagine every sad face you make becoming a story. That is what Beatrice and Edoardo live with every single day. And what about Edoardo? He was not born royal. He was a successful businessman. He had a good life, but when he married Beatrice, everything changed. Suddenly, he was not just a businessman anymore. He was a royal husband. Every trip he took was analyzed. Every meeting he had was questioned. People wondered if he was using his royal connection to help his business. Others wondered if he was happy. Some even questioned if he really loved Beatrice or just the life she could give him. That must be a terrible feeling, to always wonder if people like you or for your title. Edoardo also had to deal with the fact that Beatrice's family was always in the news for bad reasons. The scandals surrounding her father made life very hard. No matter what Edoardo did, he could not escape it. He was linked to it all, and that affected his business. Clients pulled away, deals fell through, everything he had worked so hard to build started to crumble. He tried to fix it, he worked harder, he traveled more, he thought if he could just save his business, everything else would be okay. But by trying to save his business, he may have lost something even more important, his wife. Beatrice felt alone. She felt like Edoardo had chosen work over her. She felt like she was facing the world by herself. And in a family where every tear is a headline, that loneliness must have been crushing. People on the outside see the beautiful dresses and the grand palaces. They see the glamour. They do not see the sleepless nights. They do not see the arguments. They do not see the tears. And now, Edoardo has spoken out. He has tried to tell his side of the story, but his words have only made people more curious, more suspicious, more eager to find the cracks in their fairy tale. Was he right to speak, or should he have stayed silent? That is a question only he can answer. But one thing is for sure. Once words are spoken, they cannot be taken back. And once a story is out in the open, it takes on a life of its own. So what do you think? Was Edoardo wrong to make a public statement? Is the pressure on Beatrice and her marriage real or just gossip? And what does the future hold for this family? Share your thoughts in the comments. But before you go, remember this. Life inside the palace is not always what it seems. Behind the glittering chandeliers and the perfect smiles, there are real people with real struggles. Beatrice and Edoardo are facing challenges that would test any marriage. Whether they can overcome them together or whether the pressure will pull them apart remains to be seen. Marrying into the royal family is not just about fancy titles and beautiful castles. It is about giving up your privacy. It is about having every mistake you make turned into a headline. It is about living under a microscope for the rest of your life. That is the choice Edoardo made when he said, "I do." And it is a choice he must live with every single day. What happens next in this story is still unwritten. Maybe Beatrice and Edoardo will find their way back to each other. Maybe they will grow stronger from this struggle. Or maybe the pressure will be too much and the fairy tale will come to an end. Only time will tell. Thank you for watching this dramatized story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. It helps us create more videos like this one. And remember, the next time you see a royal smile, think about the story behind it. Because sometimes the most interesting stories are the ones we never get to see.